Hello, welcome back. My name is Sarah Walker. I'm a copywriter and brand strategist. So today we're going to talk about how to find your brand message. This is super important whether you're a twin flame in mission, a light worker trying to change the world, or just a normal person who wants to make a difference and stand out in the crowd. Your brand message kind of makes or breaks you. I know this because I do this professionally. I create brand messages for companies and entrepreneurs every day, all day, and I know what a big difference it makes, right? So if you don't have your brand message down packed, you're not really going to know what to say or how to sell to people or even who your ideal client is, and you're going to end up just competing for attention with your competitors, right? You're going to sound like everyone else, and if you have nothing that makes you different, or you don't know how to sell yourself as different in your brand message, then you're going to end up charging like a quarter of what you're worth, and you're not going to live to your full abundance. You're not going to be a wealthy person if you do that, right? So your brand message is key. Now I'm going to show you exactly what I do as a copywriter and brand strategist for my clients. It's step by step exactly what I do, and you can do too. Okay, so the first step is you need to figure out your why. Your why statement is kind of like why are you doing this, right? So ask yourself questions as in, what can you give to the world? What skills do you have that are different from other people? How does your story, how can you relate your story to your client's struggles, right? Why are you doing this? Why are you starting your business in the first place? Right? If you're starting the business, let's say it's to be wealthy and to live a life of abundance and travel all the time, that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. It's unselfish to be abundant because you're inspiring other people. I truly believe that. But you need to use that in your messaging, which is why you need to find your why statement. Okay, once you know your why, that's when you start researching your competitors. So I spend the majority of my time when I'm doing a website for a client or branding. I spend the majority of my time doing research. You research your client's desires, right? So what are your clients thinking about as they're falling asleep at night? What are they worrying about? What do they really want, right? Like I always say, try and figure out like what they're gossiping about, or this is kind of a gross example, but I always say try to figure out what kind of underwear your clients wear, because that kind of like, it's the small details that are going to pull in your ideal client, right? So if even if you know that they like to eat nachos, and chocolate as they're watching Netflix right before, like on a Sunday night, if you put that in your branding, you're going to pull in that specific person, and they're going to feel like they know you, like you're their best friend, right? So research. Also research your competitors, figure out what they're doing and where you can fill the gaps that they're not providing for their clients. Okay, once you do that, you can so if you're an intuitive, whether you're a twin flame, light worker, anyone can really do this. And I suggest you also do a channeling for your ideal client, which could be done in meditation. If you're not an intuitive, don't worry, you don't have to do this. But I do suggest that you do a channeling if you're able to do that, to figure out what you need to be saying to your client. Right? Once you have all that, I want you to, or this is what I suggest you do, is I always ask my clients for 2 to 3 stories that define who they are perfectly, right? So whether it's like a triumph, something that you overcame, just something like these are the core stories that make you who you are. Right? And it's so important that you include that in your brand, because people are buying from you. They're not buying from a logo. They want to know who you are. People who work with me, they want to work with me. Like, yes, I'm a great copywriter, but it's mostly because of who I am that they feel connected with and they choose to work with me. Okay, so come up with 2 to 3 of your core stories that kind of define who you are. Define, not defined. Once you have all that, this is how I write out your brand story, right? So I usually use the brand story for your about page, but it's really used in all of your marketing materials. In your about page. So you can use this on your main page, you can use this for your services, you can do this for if you have a sales page or email marketing, you can use all of this. And this is the exact same layout I use for all of the marketing materials. So you start with your story. So you're going to choose probably one core story that really can connect to your audience. And you start by telling your story and make them feel like they are there with you, right? People love story, like stories in general. We've just been brought up in a story culture where, whether it's Disney movies or whatever it is, like, we just love stories. We're so addicted to them. The same with gossip, right? We just love that. Like, we want to know the details. So start with your story. It's going to pull people in, right? And then you're going to relate your story to your mission. That's where your why statement comes in. So you relate your story into your mission. So this is what happened to me, and this is why I'm doing this now, right? And then you're going to go into their desires after that. So this is how I can help you do the same. And you're going to paint this picture for them. You need to be super detailed, okay? If you're trying to sell a wealthy lifestyle to these people or whatever it is you're trying to sell, explain to them what it's like to be in a first class airplane seat. You get to pull your seat back, you get, food brought to you, champagne, whatever it is. Paint the picture in detail for them. And then once you paint that picture, it's just a matter of bridging what they want to the solution, which is your service or your product, right? So it's just a matter of saying, look, I can help you do all this. Book a 20-minute consultation. We'll talk about your next steps. Or here's the link, buy this product, right? Now, I know this is obviously a simplified version of it, but it's really, once you do the research and you know who you are and who you're talking to, the copy will just, content copy, whatever you want to call it, will literally just write itself, right? Like, that's how you find your brand message. I know if you're not a writer or you've never done this before, it can be super confusing. And if you do need help, you want some professional help, feel free to send me a message. My email is in the description below, and we can get your brand messaging top notch. So I hope this helped you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on the notifications so that you get notified when I post a new video. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.